Welcome back to Neranenah Scholars. I'm excited to continue this great conversation with Ben Sidran. Today we'll be discussing strange fruit.
Southern trees bear strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root. Black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees.
Strange fruit, that is an amazing story. It is interesting how many stories exist behind these songs.
Oh, yeah.
Because so many songs are just written on a Tuesday afternoon as an exercise by somebody, trying to make a buck. I mean, that's just what it is. It's a business.
Yeah.
But the songs we're talking about are kind of the exceptions to that in a way. Each one of them goes down a rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
Strange Fruit it definitely has one of these stories written by a man named Abe Mirapol, who was a teacher, a high school teacher in New York. He was Harvard educated, and he was very politically active. And he wrote it as a poem that was first published in the Union, I guess the Teachers Union magazine. And if you don't know the lyrics to Strange Fruit, basically the image that is startling is strange fruit, black bodies swinging from southern trees. It's about lynching. And Mirapol was convinced that the great singer Billie Holiday was the voice to deliver the song. He had access to a man named Milt Gabler. Milt Gabler started the first independent record company. It was called Commodore Records. It was an offshoot of his father's record store. Actually, it started as an appliance store. They sold appliances, which included record players. And to lure people into the store, Milt had wired up a speaker above the front door, and he was playing jazz into the streets. And one by one, people would come up and say, "Hey, what's the record?" It became a record store. And Gabler got so successful. At first, he bought records that nobody wanted anymore and resold them. And then eventually, he started recording his own. And he started a record label. And it was it was the first independent record label in the United States. And so the Commodore Records was new, and Billie Holiday was signed to CBS Records, Columbia Records. It was a big company. Gabler and Mirapol met with Billie Holiday to try to convince her to sing the song because it was a great song. And Holiday was performing regularly at a club, and it wasn't Cafe Society. Well, it doesn't matter.
It was Barney Josephson, right?
Barney Josephson ran Cafe Society. I'm not sure if that's the club in question, but in any case, Billie Holiday at first said, "No, I'm not going to record that song. It's too controversial. I don't need the trouble of recording a song about lynching." They kept trying to convince her. She eventually took it to John Hammond, who was the A&R head at Columbia Records, and he said, "Absolutely not. It's too controversial." Then Milt Gabler said, "Well, I'll record it on my label, on Commodore Records." And they did. And before they recorded it, Billie sang it in the club one night, the song. And the audience made her sing it 12 more times that night when they knew there was something special going on here. And that song, well, most people thought that Billie Holiday wrote it, and she didn't do a whole lot to dissuade them of that. She also kind of implied that it was written for her. But the truth is, it really was written by her and for her, even though it wasn't literally. It was just perfect for her, and it was perfect for the times. And that song, we mentioned Brother, Can You Spare a Dime? Brother, Can You Spare a Dime had the sentiment, but Strange Fruit had the sound. You talk about sound. It captured the sound of I don't want to say of suffering, because it was more than that. It was the sound of life lived on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that a song can and in some ways must tell the truth. And as a model, it really changed popular music. I mean, it certainly had to have affected Woody Guthrie, who wrote all the songs of the Dust Bowl and of impoverished people. Woody Guthrie totally affected Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan affected every songwriter who came after him. I mean, you can trace back to Strange Fruit so many lines of so-called protest music, so-called social justice music. It's a moment in history, and it's been thought of as one of the, or if not the great song of the 20th century.
Yeah, it's usually either that or Over the Rainbow I see at the top of the list. Yeah. I don't know if it's also, unlike Brother Can You Spare a Dime, I feel like Billie Holiday just owns this song. It's really odd to hear other versions of it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Even Nina Simone singing it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, it's so strange. I don't know why, but she really, as you said.
Abe Mirapol was right. It was the perfect fit.
Mm-hmm.
The sound of her voice and the stories that was being told, and the sound of the lyrics. The lyrics never say what they're talking about. It's one poetic metaphor, but it's so clear what's going on that, I mean, it really captures, in a way, the true experience of the South, just as Irving Berlin and those guys were trying to romance the people about the South, or tell an untrue story about the South for their own well-being. This told the truth. Boy, there's something about when the truth comes together with popular culture, it can blow up. And this is an example.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and hope you'll join us next week. As a nonprofit, we can only afford to put on great programming like this thanks to your support. Please visit us at neranenahArts.org for more information and to learn how to get involved.